So, what is prompt engineering? It's kind of one of a trendiest, maybe all-rated thing in 2024 to 2025. Yet many people don't aware what kind of thing is this. And I'm going to give you a detailed point where I could mention everything regarding what is a prompt engineering is. And after you watch the video, you will completely know what is actually the definition, how you can make a better prompt. So the science of designing input that reliably shape the behavior, reasoning, and output of large language model is software engineering. Prompt engineering. So it's not a trick. It's a magical phrase of, I can say better English. So it is system design, constraint management, more about cognitive scaffolding and task decomposition and error control, iterative refinement and alignment of human intent with machine reasoning. So I'm saying I accidentally say it's software engineering because it's more closest to software engineering than writing. And I could say the core model, how LLM think. So they don't understand, they predict. They use token prediction, they use pattern matching, latent space reasoning, probabilistic architecture, state carried through conversation, and instruction interpreted as constraint. So why does it matter? So if you don't understand how the model reason, we cannot control it. So I'm going to give you the 7 golden principle of prompt engineering. The first thing is role assignment. So you're going to tell the model what identify to adopt. So you can see here you are a senior Python engineer with 10 years of experience. So you write, optimize, and production ready code. So LLM gonna pull pattern from similar data slices in training. So you give a role to them, and it's gonna act according to them. And second gonna be the explicit constraint. So the model fail without boundary, right? So what people might wondering, what is constraint? It's predictability. I'm going to give you an example, then you will understand what this is. So you're going to tell limit output to 120 words. So the constraint is limit and 2. I'm going to use, say, using simple vocabulary here and avoid metaphor. So I'm giving a boundary, so you cannot exceed beyond that. So when you play GTA 5 or any sort of games, you are in a constrained environment. You cannot go beyond that. So so people in the world who live there, they might call it simulation or any kind of thing. So that what we are talking about constraint, it's predictability. And third gonna be our input process output, which is IPO structure. Just remember that. So engineers thinks in more deterministic flows, right? So I'm gonna give an input which is raw CSV with missing value. So this is gonna remove ambiguity from the model's reasoning space, and you're gonna get an output word JSON with 3 field, right? Here you can see the input. What I type here is a symbol thing, and I ask the process how the workflow should be. So I'm gonna type clean, impute, normalize, and this is a workflow, and the output is gonna be perfect. So JSON with 3 field is my target, right? So the fourth gonna be a few short prompting, so which is an example priming. I'm gonna show what you want. So the example question here is how to loop through a dictionary in Python. And the example answer here is use dot item to access both key and value. So my turn is explain how to loop through a list. So model learn from pattern you inject, right? And there you're gonna see a big change if you know it. I asked a question and I get a example answer based on that question, right? And the fifth gonna be step-by-step reasoning, which is really important term, which is everybody know chain of thought. So you're gonna tell things step by step, explain your logic before giving the final answer. This is gonna reduce hallucination dramatically, right? And the sixth one gonna be error handling. So never assume the model will be right? So if I'm gonna type, if you're unsure, say I'm unsure. If the user input is incomplete, ask a question. If there are multiple answering, which is called multi-hop reasoning, which could be there nowadays. OpenAI just make two answers, which is you can choose the right one based on your liking, and so you engineer the failure mode. So this could be the most important thing. And seventh is iteration loop. The first response is never the final version, right? You're gonna rewrite the first and simplify by 30%. You're gonna rewrite two and you're gonna add real world example and rewrite and optimize for clarity. So you're gonna treat the model like a junior engineer, right? And you should have more experience. You don't want to convey that AI has more experience than you do. And fourth one gonna be the RICE, which is role, input, step, expectation. I'm gonna give a role. I'm gonna give an input. Here I put input as I put 20% null value. So user gave messy data sets with 20% null value. I'm gonna give a step how to do it. Like you're gonna need an analysis column, you need to identify null distribution, you're gonna suggest imputation strategy, and you're gonna do output code. And the expectation as based on the assignment, you're gonna say use Python only and explain choice. It's a complete predictable engineering grade. And next one gonna be the tag framework. You're gonna give a task, you're gonna give an action, you're gonna give a guardrails. The task is you need to generate a skill query, use correct joins. The guardrails is you don't need to hallucinate table name. Many times, even though there could be multi-hop reasoning, but AI could be wrong. That's why we are giving a right prompt right now. But based on time, in the future there could be less hallucination if they use maybe high computing power. And the C is SCQA, which is situation, complication, question and answer. It's a great for narrative task. So we need to improve backend speed, database read R, too slow. So what solution exists? Indexing, caching, denormalizing. So you're gonna explain the situation here. So what's your complication? What's a question you need to ask? What kind of answer you might expect? So it's a great for narrative thing. You might find it very helpful. And these draft, depth, reasoning, accuracy, format, sound, ensure polished control out. So I highly recommend when you ask any question to your teacher, you're normally gonna ask the first framework or maybe second one, right? Maybe third one. So make sure you always make this framework when you ask to a teacher. Then you can formulate a high good question, right? So this is one of the best skill anybody can develop right now. Normally, it's going to be very hard to make a framework question when you ask something. You're going to ask a direct question like, how can I solve this? What do you mean by this definition, right? So always think about it. And next thing gonna be technical prompt. It's really advanced level. This is where many professionals operate, and there's many research paper going on. And right now, I'm gonna give each point which you should use right now to become a more advanced user. One is chain of thought prompting, which is COT. You're gonna say you are telling the model to explain its reasoning. You're gonna explain step by step reasoning before final answer. So this is one of the most important things which you need to learn, right? You're telling them to make that thing step by step. So this would generate a great multi-hop reasoning, sometimes a great answer. Not sometimes, mostly I could see when I type this prompt, I could get a good answer. And the second gonna be the tree of thought prompting. So AI explore multiple paths, gonna generate 3 solution path and evaluate each for correctness. I'm gonna choose the highest scoring one. So here's a 3. You're gonna see I told them to generate, and then I told evaluate whether this one is right. And I told which to choose the right one for me. So there's a multiple path here. So this 3 of your thought which you have. So if you have a startup idea which you are expect a model to create a process, if you write a prompt like this drastically improve problem solving quality. And the third gonna be react prompting, which is reason plus act. It used an agent, tool, and automation, right? And in the reason step, I told them looking for a missing value, and act, it should be I call as clean data. This is really powerful react prompting if you apply for many AI agent task. AI agent is a big topic. I'm gonna cover in another one. And the fourth gonna be self-critic prompting, and the model critique itself. You're gonna evaluate your answer, fix inaccuracy, explain what you corrected right, and you are acting as a critique here. Then you're gonna get better. answer. And the fifth is program aided prompting, which is PAP. So the LLM plus actual code execution here, and you're going to use Python to calculate the result. So you're going to use it in reasoning tasks like math, finance, engineering, everything, right? And this is really powerful when it comes to programming and everything, which is you are giving an understanding of the general constraint. And the sixth is schema enforcement, and which is called it's very good for API automation and workflows. And you can see here the output is only in this JSON, title, score, summary. It's a full structured output, right? And there's a schema here which make the workflow really good. So here I'm gonna give a summary what I tell you, and there are some master prompt template. It's you need a, here is an expert word prompt. You can act as an expert in this domain with many years of experience. You can add 10, maybe 25. It's gonna be more better not to hallucinate when this problem, but still hallucinate if the model is really has maybe GPT-5 won't make mistake. And the second is code generation prompt. You're gonna write production ready code, and you're gonna add comment, explain complexity here. This is a good one. And the third is debugging prompt, which is you're gonna find the logical error, explain root cause, suggest fixed code. And the fourth is summarization prompt. This is one of everybody used this, right? I'm sorry. If you're gonna summarize into 3 bullet point, which can be really helpful if you want to learn something really fast. And study prompt, this is better. You're gonna teach me this topic like I'm a beginner, use real example. And there's conversation prompt. You're gonna convert this text into bullet, JSON, table, API spec. And there's a creative prompt. If you are more into this side, writing cinematic style, use rich visual description. And there comes optimization prompt to improve clarity by 30%, remove redundancy. And there comes question prompt. You're gonna ask 5 clarifying questions before answering. And there comes autonomous workflow prompt. I'm gonna tell you are an autonomous agent. You're gonna plan, execute, evaluate, improve. So this is a good one. This is a prompt I generally use when I'm writing, but you can refine that based on your experience, because most of the time you're gonna figure out things, right? But this prompt generally can save 24 hours of your work, right? So prompt engineering is not phrasing. So it is thinking like an architect. It requires precision, constraint, structure, clarity, decomposition, verification, iteration, and probably above all. So you're gonna must think before the model think, right? So you need to think. I already put a term what hallucination really are. I did this a lot of time. You might wondering sometime AI would make mistake. This is hallucination. So it happened when the model receive vague task. Your prompt engineering skills bad, then your answer could be bad. And you're gonna must it has low confidence. That's a main issue, right? So 90% hallucination vanish with proper prompt structure. That's why I teach you this necessary skill which you need to have. And section 9 is, I told you, the 30 real engineering pattern. Here all I'm discussing here, which you all learn right now. So this is a God prompt which I created. So you can learn anything if you paste this prompt to your AI. You can use cloud in any sort of platform if your limit is expired. So here are all. So this prompt I thought, I hope this might be a really helpful video